I step into my studio, and the familiar smell of leather and fresh paint makes me feel at home after 3 long days of meetings with clients in Nashville. The air smells a little like the wood I used for my furniture, and a little like paint. I take a deep breath, hoping to relax. But something feels wrong. But before I continue, hit the subscribe button and tell me where are you watching this from, and what time of day is it? The soft, vintage velvet armchair I worked so hard to fix last month isn't where it usually is. It's moved 2 feet away from its spot. My stomach tightens. That chair has always been in the perfect place so that the sunlight hits it just right. I look around the studio and notice something else. My sketches, which I always keep neatly stacked by project and date, are messy. Some are leaning, others are on the floor, and a few are mixed together. I pick one up and notice smudges on it, as if someone touched it without care. My heart pounds. Juniper? I call, dropping my portfolio by the door. My voice echoes in the room, sounding strange in the sudden quiet. I feel a shiver run down my spine. Something is very wrong here. The studio looks like someone moved everything just for a picture, not to actually work in. Every table, every lamp, every tool has a place I carefully decided. I've spent 7 years making this space perfect. Every table at the right height, each lamp positioned for the best light while I draw. Every shelf is placed so that I can reach the materials I need quickly. Seraphine, you're back early. Juniper bursts through the back door. She's carrying coffee, and some spills over the rim of her mug onto the floor. Her eyes darted around the studio, landing everywhere but on me. I stare at her. What happened here? I ask, running my fingertips along the edge of my design table. My voice sounds calmer than I feel, but inside my heart is racing. Juniper's shoulders slump. She sets down her coffee and slides her tablet across the work table toward me. Your mom stopped by with strawberry jam on Tuesday when she found out you were in Nashville, she says softly. Her finger taps the screen, and my stomach sinks. I look down at the tablet. A digital magazine is open. The headline says, Vespera Vale, Georgia's Hidden Design Gem. My stomach drops. I stare at the screen and my eyes widen. There is a photo of my sister Vespera, smiling confidently, standing in my studio. Her hand is resting on my drafting table, the one I built myself from reclaimed pine flooring from our grandmother's house. They stole my life's work while I was away, I whisper, and the words burn in my throat. Juniper's eyes fill with tears. Your mother brought the jam, asked where you were, and then Vespera showed up with photographers an hour later. I tried calling you. I fumble for my phone. I scroll through missed calls from Juniper that came during my client meetings. I had my phone on silent. The realization hits me. All those calls were her trying to stop this. But I was too busy. The article describes Vespera's unique vision and shows my studio as if it belonged to her. I swipe through more photos. There's my custom lighting, my built-in shelves, my carefully chosen color palette. All of it is credited to Vespera. My breath catches. Then I freeze. There, in the magazine, is a photo of my college thesis project, a reading nook I designed using reclaimed materials on a student budget. The caption says, Vespera's early work shows her sustainable approach to design. I feel a sharp pang in my chest. My own family planned this betrayal. I think back to when I was 12. I used to rearrange my bedroom furniture every week, experimenting with how things would feel and work. Vespera would get new bedspreads and curtains, while I dragged old furniture home to fix and repaint. I got sideways glances, while she got praise for her neatness. By the time I was 16, I was trading, upcycling, and fixing pieces of furniture, developing my own aesthetic and style. My parents called it playing house, but they praised Vespera's academic achievements. I worked 3 jobs to get through design school: waitressing in the mornings, working retail in the evenings, cleaning offices on weekends. My parents didn't help me, saying creative careers were risky. Those years blend into a haze of exhaustion, paint fumes, and determination. Every piece in this studio represents sacrifice. Every table, lamp, and chair is a piece of my life. Last month, during our monthly family dinner, Vespera casually suggested becoming the face of my company. You're the talent, Seraphine, but I'm better with people, she said, smiling while slicing her pot roast. Mom and Dad nodded. Don't be selfish, Mom said. Vespera has connections. She's trying to help you. After all we've done for you, Dad added, though he had doubted me my whole life. I set down my fork. I built this from nothing. I will not give the credit to someone else. I walked out, leaving their accusations of ingratitude following me to the car. I never thought they would go this far. My phone rings, jolting me back to the present. It's the Orion family, my newest clients for a craftsman home renovation. Miss Vale. Mr. Orion says stiffly. We've decided to go in another direction. We saw the article about your sister's work and reached out to her directly. Before I can respond, he hangs up. My email pings with another client inquiry, asking if Vespera is available for consultation. Another ping shows Vespera tagged me in a social media post, thanking me for inspiring her design journey. I place both hands flat on my drafting table, feeling the wood grain under my palms. I take a deep breath. My spine straightens. This is my studio, I say, my voice stronger than I expected. I will fight for it. Mine. My life. My work. Juniper nods, determination replacing her tears. Where do we start? My hands shake as I open my laptop. The magazine article was just the beginning. I need to understand everything that happened while I was away. After a sleepless night pacing my apartment, I am determined to see the full scope of Vespera's betrayal. Try her Instagram, Juniper suggests, perching on the edge of my desk with 2 steaming cups of coffee. She slides one toward me. Her eyes reflect my anxiety. I type Vespera's name into the search bar. My stomach drops. She has 53,000 followers. Her profile says, budget decor expert and sustainable design consultant. When did she? My voice catches. I scroll down, each image hitting me like a punch. There's my converted barn door coffee table from 2014. The custom built-ins I designed for the Wilson's Lake House in 2018. The vintage trunk I turned into a kitchen island last summer. Look at the captions, Juniper whispers. Another weekend transformation. Budget renovation. Creating beauty from abandoned pieces is my passion. Rescue design, the captions say. The comments flood in. You're so talented. Can you help with my living room? Vespera's replies sound exactly like me. My words. My design philosophy. Written in my journal since college. My Pinterest boards. Every idea I ever had. Juniper points at a board. Look at the date, December 2012. That's when you finished your first paid renovation. Vespera copied it all. I say, my voice trembling despite trying to stay calm. This isn't opportunistic. It's planned. Juniper's phone pings with a message. She checks it, frowning. Your mother texted. They want to do a follow-up shoot tomorrow. A follow-up shoot? My stomach feels like it's sinking. Juniper slides her phone toward me. The text thread between Mom and Vespera shows their entire plan. Vespera wants more photos for her portfolio, and Mom is helping. Seraphine might not like it, but don't worry, Mom wrote. I scroll further. They coordinated camera angles, which projects to show, even which of my client files to pull for background inspiration. Juniper says, pulling up her email. There's more. The photographer contacted me this morning. He said he felt uncomfortable because he realized what was happening. The email has attachments, behind-the-scenes photos of Vespera and Mom moving my furniture, arranging my sketches, directing the shoot. One image even shows Dad in the doorway watching. My family was in on it. The betrayal settles in my chest like heavy concrete. My phone rings again. This time it's the Dalton Group, my largest commercial client. Ms. Vale? We're confused about who is actually designing our office space. Your sister contacted us, claiming she's taking over, says Margaret Dalton. The room tilts slightly, I think. She has no right. I'm handling the project personally. That's what we assumed, but the magazine article is unauthorized and inaccurate. I promised to send documentation confirming our contract. I open my accounting software. My bank email shows the studio loan is due in 3 days. I calculate potential losses if clients keep leaving. The numbers are devastating. I could be out of business in 6 months. Another email comes in. Maris Callahan, a friend from design school, writes, just saw the magazine spread. That reading nook they're crediting to Vespera? I remember watching you build it at 2 a.m. in the senior studio. What's going on? People know my work. A small flame of hope flickers. I've got your back, Juniper says. I open the security camera app on my phone. The footage shows Vespera directing photographers pointing at my pieces, claiming them as hers. The timestamp confirms they spent 3 hours in my studio. I call Jackson Winslow, my lawyer, scrolling for his number. 30 minutes later, I outlined everything to him. He listens with increasing concern. We're looking at multiple issues here, he explains. Trespass, unauthorized commercial filming, false endorsement, maybe defamation. I end the call and stand at my studio window. Rain begins to fall against the glass. For a moment, the tears I've been holding back threaten to come. I press my palms against my eyes until the pressure pushes back the emotion. When I lower my hands, my phone screen lights up with a message from the magazine editor. Miss Vale, I know there might be a problem with the new design we made. I am ready to talk about it this afternoon. I take a deep breath and straighten my shoulders. My heart feels heavy, but I know I must face it. This is the first small victory of the day. Juniper. I call her name, turning from the window with a strong feeling in my chest. She comes quickly. I gather everything I have, showing all my work. Every drawing, every note from happy clients, every before and after picture I ever took. I spread them out carefully on the floor of my studio. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about every artist who worked hard but had their work taken. Every creator who stayed up late, who worked through sleepless nights, who dreamed and built, only to see someone else take credit. I will not let that happen. I won't let it happen to me, and I won't let it happen to anyone else. The next morning, I wake to the buzzing of my phone on the nightstand. 4 notifications. Friends are sharing Vespera's latest social media post. I swipe my finger across the screen with heavy hands. And there she is, Vespera, standing in my studio. My studio. The one I worked for years to build. Her hands are touching the shelves I made, the tables I built, the lights I installed after 3 long sleepless nights. And she smiles. Thank you, everyone, her voice says through the speakers. I am so happy to share my design journey with the world. The video pans slowly across the workspace. Everything I built. Every calculation, every decision, every tiny detail, all presented as hers. Delete, I whisper, closing the app. I hurl my phone onto the bed. It bounces slightly against the comforter, then rests there. My stomach twists in anger and disbelief. The landline rings. I picked it up, surprised. It's Mrs. Isolde, my mother's bridge partner for 20 years. Seraphine, dear, she says warmly. Your mother just called. She says you and Vespera are working together now. You're both in Georgia style this month. I freeze. That is not true. Not even close. I always knew you girls would make a perfect team, she continues. Your creativity and Vespera's people skills complement each other. I swallow hard. My parents are calling everyone. After Mrs. Isolde, 3 more calls came from family friends, each one congratulating me on the partnership I never agreed to. By noon, the article had been shared across 6 design blogs. By evening, the local news aired a short segment about the Vale sisters taking Georgia's design world by storm. Juniper brings me coffee. She sits beside me as we watch my reputation being destroyed in real time. How do they sleep at night? She asks softly. Her voice is small, almost a whisper, against the magnitude of the theft. I don't answer her. Instead, I walk to my storage closet and pull out my portfolio cases. 7 years of work. All documented, all in order. I spread the contents across the floor. Sketches with dates, signed drawings, photographs of empty rooms transformed, handwritten thank you notes from clients. This is proof, I say, running my fingers over a sketch from 2018. I found my college thesis project, the reading nook that Vespera claimed was her early work. Professor Winters had written across the top, exceptional spatial awareness. You have a genuine gift, Seraphine. My hand shakes as I touch a photo of my first tiny office. A converted storage room above a flower shop. I'd slept on a second-hand futon those first few months. I showered at the gym to save money while building my client list. Remember Lyra Winslow? I asked Juniper, holding up before and after photos of a Victorian parlor transformation. Your first major client, Juniper nods. She hired me when I had nothing but a borrowed camera and hand-drawn sketches. She said, You've got something special, young lady. I'm willing to bet on you. My voice grows stronger as I remember. I built this once. I can do it again if I have to. The studio door chimes. I turn, and there is Vespera, our mother trailing behind her. Both carry designer coffees and practice smiles. There she is, Vespera exclaims, arms outstretched as if for a hug. I do not move. The creative genius, she adds with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I stand perfectly still among my spread-out portfolio evidence. Why are you here? I ask. We brought coffee, Mother says, her voice dropping into the concerned tone she uses when she wants something. We thought we should talk about next steps. The article has received tremendous response. Vespera carefully sets her cup down, careful not to disturb my evidence spread. Look, Seraphine, I know you're upset about how this happened, but the publicity is good for both of us. We can share the spotlight. There's room for both Vale sisters. That's what family does, Mother adds, sinking into my client consultation chair. We help each other succeed. I laugh. The sound is foreign to my ears. Help each other? You didn't help me succeed. You tried to steal what I already built. Vespera's smile falters. That's a bit dramatic, she says. I was just taking credit for my work, using my designs to book paying consultations, pretending my years of sacrifice were yours. I gesture to the ceiling corner, where the security camera silently records everything. Mother's eyes widened. You're recording us? Your own family? I record everyone who enters my professional space for security. I reply. My phone buzzes with a text, then another, and another. Cashin Rook, my mentor from design school, saw the article. I've got 15 years of your design development documented, he says. Tell me what you need. Professor Winters, that reading nook is unmistakably your thesis project. I still have the original presentation boards in storage. The Morgans, clients whose Georgian revival you completed last spring, say we hired you for your vision, not your sister's. How can we help set the record straight? Something shifts inside me. The loneliness of betrayal gives way to the strength of unexpected alliance. You should go. I tell Vespera and Mother, my voice steady now. My attorney will be here soon. Attorney? Mother's hand flutters to her throat. Surely we can handle this as a family. You forfeited that option when you planned a commercial photo shoot in my studio without permission, I responded. My phone rings. It's Dorian Kessler, my attorney. Good news, he says. The unauthorized use of your copyrighted designs gives us clear grounds for action against both the magazine and your sister. I've prepared cease and desist letters with a 24-hour deadline for retraction. Deliver them today, I say, keeping my eyes on Vespera. Her confident posture crumbles. She fumbles for her phone, probably texting the magazine editors. Within an hour, the online article disappears, replaced by a notice of content under review. Mother leaves 3 voice messages that evening. Her tone changes from righteously indignant to uncharacteristically uncertain. For the first time since discovering the theft, I slept through the night. The next morning, Juniper and I meet with Celine Ashford, a PR specialist who specializes in reputation management. Document everything, Celine advises. We review our timeline of evidence. Every unauthorized post, every stolen design, every false claim will help prepare statements for our clients and industry contacts. We also install additional security cameras and change the locks. I authorize Juniper as the only person allowed to access the studio when I'm gone. This isn't just about me anymore, I tell them. It's about everyone who creates. If I let this stand, I'm saying it's okay to steal someone's life's work. After they leave, I discover something I hadn't noticed before. Hidden in Vespera's earliest social media posts are designs she couldn't possibly have created. Copyrighted patterns from other designers, altered just enough to avoid immediate detection. I also find receipts from design consultations Vespera conducted using my portfolio as her own, and contracts she broke by claiming she was the designer of record. I spread a map across my drafting table, circling a location in another state. A place with new opportunities, far from family deception. They think they know my next move. I whisper to the empty studio. They have no idea. 3 days later, after gathering all documents and evidence, I reviewed the email one last time before hitting send. Attached are 37 pages proving my ownership of every design in Vespera's fraudulent feature. The message goes to every client in my database, past and present. This ends today, I whisper, clicking send. Juniper looks up from her laptop, where she is drafting our press release. How does this sound? She asks. I read aloud. The interior studio regrets to announce that unauthorized commercial photography took place on our premises during Miss Vale's absence. Perfect. I nod, watching my phone light up with delivery confirmations. Let's make it crystal clear, I say, that Vespera has no design credentials whatsoever. Within 20 minutes, my inbox fills with responses. Design bloggers request statements. Industry colleagues express outrage. 3 former professors offer sworn statements about my student work. The network I never knew I had materializes like furniture appearing in an empty room. My attorney calls. We've filed copyright claims against all of Vespera's social media accounts. Expect movement within hours. I check Instagram while we talk. Vespera's perfectly curated feed, 7 years of my designs labeled as hers, vanishes post by post. The satisfaction burns bright and fierce in my chest. An hour later, the studio door chimes. Mother stands there, clutching a ceramic dish wrapped in a kitchen towel. Her eyes are red-rimmed. "I brought your favorite peach cobbler," she says, voice wavering. I say nothing, continuing to sort client testimonials at my drafting table. "Seraphine, please," she says. "This has gone too far. We were only trying to help your business grow." "By stealing it?" I ask, voice steady, despite the anger burning inside me. Mother and Vesper are quiet. That's not the kind of help I know. My phone rang. I picked it up, keeping my eyes on her. I didn't want to look away for even a second. "Yes," I said clearly, "these are my original sketches from 2018. I drew them myself." "No," I continued. "My sister has never learned design. She didn't take classes, she didn't study, it's not her work. And yes," I added, "I have the original contract with the client. Everything is right here, written down and signed." Mom's face changed. It crumpled like paper, and I could see the pain mixed with worry. She didn't say anything more. She just turned and walked out of the cobbler's shop where we had run into her earlier. Her steps were slow, and her shoulders were hunched, like she carried a heavy weight. Later that evening, my dad called. "You're destroying this family's reputation," he said, trying to keep his voice calm, but I could hear the tension under it. "People are talking, and it's spreading fast." "Good," I replied without hesitation, scrolling through a design blog on my phone. They had written a long article about the situation, showing how my own family tried to take credit for my work. I let them talk. Let them share their stories. The truth was clear, and the proof was everywhere. My father's voice was tight on the other end. "Your sister has posted an apology video. Have you seen it?" "Yes," I said. "I saw it. Vesper is crying on camera, saying she just wanted to help me show my talent. But everyone in the comments is pointing out years of examples, showing she was taking my work all along. It's not just one small mistake, it was a pattern, a long time of taking what wasn't hers." A text popped up from Marceline, a family friend. "I'd be happy to help you both talk and understand each other," it read. I typed back, "The evidence speaks for itself. There's nothing to talk about or mediate." By the next morning, the situation had completely changed. The Georgia Design Association had issued a statement about creative ownership. They didn't name names, but everyone knew exactly who they meant. Former clients started sharing their stories online, showing before and after pictures of their homes. They included captions like, "The real designer behind my dream kitchen." They were making it clear that I was the one who had done the work. The magazine that had published the story finally retracted it. The editor even called me personally. "We didn't know," she said, her voice full of regret. "We've terminated our relationship with the photographer who helped make this mistake. It won't happen again." Vespera's social media following dropped quickly. New clients made it clear in contracts that she could not claim my work. Friends of my parents sent awkward messages, letting them know they were disappointed in how they behaved. My phone rang again. This time, Vespera's name flashed on the screen. I hesitated, but against my better judgment, I answered. "You're ruining everything for me," she shouted almost immediately. "All my followers, my reputation. Everything." "You mean my followers and my reputation," I corrected calmly. "You can't lose something that was never yours." "We were only trying to help you both succeed," my mother said, interrupting from speakerphone. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Help," I said slowly. "You mean steal my work?" "The legal way, the ethical way, the way that doesn't involve theft, that's what I mean." Just then, an email popped up from my father. I may have misjudged the situation. "Let's talk about moving forward as a family," it read. For the first time in almost 15 years, our monthly family dinner was canceled. The group chat stayed completely silent. I walked through my studio, touching the furniture I had built myself, running my hands over fabrics I had picked, and looking at the lighting I had designed. Everything reminded me of my effort, my creativity, and my passion. They still didn't understand what they had done wrong. Maybe they never would. The movers would arrive tomorrow for the first boxes. The new lease for my studio in Savannah sat on my desk, signed and ready. 3 key clients had already agreed to continue their projects remotely, trusting me even with the distance. Layla, my assistant, had already given notice on her apartment. I watched the garden outside the window, the same garden my mom had helped me plant when I first opened this studio. A bittersweet ache settled in my chest, but I knew I had to stay strong. Sometimes you have to leave to truly move forward, I told Layla as she placed the last of the day's documentation in our growing legal file. She nodded, understanding something my family never could. Some spaces, once broken, could never feel like home again. 3 days later, I pulled the last roll of bubble wrap from its box. The plastic crackled as I secured another frame and design certificate. The studio felt hollow, half-empty, with shelves bare and walls echoing my voice as I directed the packing. I told Layla, who was labeling boxes with meticulous care, that the portfolios should go into the reinforced boxes. She nodded, continuing her work carefully. The bell above the door jingled. I didn't need to turn around to know who it was. The familiar smell of my mother's floral perfume mixed with the cardboard dust in the air. "What is all this?" her voice asked, breaking through the quiet of our packing. She stood in the doorway with Vespera and Dad behind her, like backup singers waiting for their cue. Mom's hand flew to her throat, a dramatic gesture I had seen her do many times before. I almost expected to see spotlight marks on the floor. "Seraphine, you can't just leave your family," she said. I continued wrapping a handcrafted lamp base. "I'm not leaving my family. I'm relocating my business." Dad stepped forward, all business in his golf polo and pressed khakis. "Now, Seraphine, let's be reasonable. We can make this work for everyone." He pulled a folder from his leather portfolio. "I've drawn up a partnership agreement," he said. "Vespera handles the social aspects, you do the designs. Veil and Veil Interior Design has a nice ring to it." Vespera pushed past him, her eyes darting around the half-packed studio. "I'll take down all my posts and videos," she blurted, phone already in hand. "See, I'm deleting them right now." I placed the wrapped lamp in a box and sealed it with tape. The ripping sound cut through her desperate promises. "Too late," I said quietly, walking to my design table where a black binder sat. I had been waiting for this moment. I opened the binder and turned it toward them. Page 1. My original sketches from 2012, dated and notarized. Page 2. Vespera's Pinterest board from 2013, showing the exact same concepts labeled as her own. I flipped through the pages methodically. Pages 3 through 17 contained screenshots of my designs appearing on Vespera's social media over the past decade, each with timestamps. Mom tried to close the binder. "Seraphine, this is ridiculous," she said. I moved her hand away firmly. Page 18 contained financial records showing the clients who had canceled after her magazine stunt, with estimated losses of $48,000. Dad's face turned pale. Numbers always get through to him. I pulled out my phone and pressed play. Vespera's voice filled the studio. "Of course I borrowed from Seraphine's portfolio. She has the talent, but I make it marketable. That's how family works." Vespera lunged for my phone. "You recorded me? That's illegal." "Georgia is a one-party consent state," I said calmly. "This isn't about forgiveness. It's about consequences." The door opened again. My lawyer, Callista Vera, walked in, holding a leather portfolio of her own. She placed 3 identical settlement documents on the table. The settlement terms were simple. Callista explained, her tone professional but cold. A public retraction acknowledging me as the true designer of all disputed works, financial compensation for lost clients and reputation damage, and a non-competition agreement preventing Vespera from working in interior design for 3 years. Mom sank into my packing chair. "This is absurd," she said. I continued. Vespera would publish a statement admitting I was the true designer behind all previously claimed work. And both of my parents were forbidden from any involvement in my business affairs. Callista placed 3 pens on the table. "Sign today, or we go to court tomorrow." The magazine's legal team had already settled separately. Vespera's facade finally cracked. "You always had the talent I wanted," she screamed, tears streaming down her face. "Do you know what it's like growing up with someone who can create something beautiful out of nothing, while I can't even match throw pillows properly?" Mom collapsed into genuine tears, not the fake, manipulative ones I had seen my whole life. Her shoulders shook, and for the first time, it seemed like her grief came from somewhere real. Dad stood frozen, stunned into silence. I walked to the door and held it open. The moving trucks would arrive at 8 tomorrow morning. I wouldn't be here. After they left, Layla locked the door behind them and turned the sign to closed. "Are you okay?" she asked, returning to a box of design samples. I nodded. Better than I expected. The next morning, I stood across the street, watching the movers load the last of my materials. The family car drove slowly past, all 3 of them staring at the emptying studio. They didn't stop. Layla walked through each room one last time, turning off lights, checking the consultation space, the kitchenette, and the bathroom. The studio darkened section by section. I crossed the street one last time and placed my new business card in the window, the interior studio name embossed in letters, with an address 3 states away. My hand lingered on the doorframe of the space that had held both my dreams and my heartbreak. 7 years of work. 7 years proving myself. Ready? Layla asked, holding the last potted plant carefully in her arms. The moving truck rumbled to life in the background. Orion, my assistant, waited in his car. Evander, my new business manager, sat beside him. My chosen family. Some family is born, I said. Some are chosen. I didn't look back as we drove away. In the new studio, morning light poured through windows twice the size of my old space. I adjusted a vintage table lamp I had rescued from a thrift store at 16. Seraphine, they're here. Layla called from the reception area, excitement in her voice. Our first major client had arrived for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Orion arranged chairs. Talia, our junior designer, adjusted the refreshment table. They worked with purpose, respecting the vision we had created together. No one here treats my designs as something to be stolen, I thought. This space feels alive, Mrs. Lenora whispered, her husband nodding beside her. That's exactly what I was going for, I said, smiling for the first time in months. After the champagne and congratulations, I retreated to my private design nook. The gallery wall before me displayed my journey. Sketches from design school, photos of my first apartment renovations, magazine features with my name correctly attributed. Centered among them hung a professional photograph of my college thesis project, the reading nook Vespera once claimed as her own. I had reclaimed more than just credit. I had reclaimed my joy. My journal sat open on the drafting table, filled with pages of therapy homework that helped me process the betrayal. Next to it was the outline for a mentorship program I was launching for young designers with difficult family situations. Some wounds, I realized, could become purpose. The mail arrived with Layla's afternoon coffee. She paused at a cream-colored envelope. Your mother, she said simply, placing it on my desk. I recognized the handwriting immediately. It was her third apology letter. I placed it in the drawer unopened. Some relationships can't be redesigned. Not yet. Maybe not ever. My father hadn't written at all. Vespera had enrolled in actual design courses, starting from the beginning, learning the fundamentals she had tried to steal from me. The door chimes rang as our afternoon consultation arrived. Layla greeted them in the reception area. Are you the famous designer? A client asked. I stepped forward, shoulders straight. I am Seraphine Vale. This is my studio. No hesitation, no doubt, no fear of claiming what was mine. Later, after everyone had gone, I received an email from Interior Vision magazine. They wanted to feature my new studio with my name prominently displayed. Minutes later, an industry award nomination appeared, recognizing my authentic approach to space and storytelling. The mentorship program had already received 12 applications. My former design school invited me to speak about creative ownership and professional boundaries. I stood in the center of my studio after hours. The lights dimmed to a warm glow. A framed photograph of my first secondhand furniture project, a lopsided bookshelf I built at 14, hung beside my recent award-winning commercial space design. My fingers traced the wall, feeling the solidity beneath my touch. This was the interior that mattered most, the one where I recognized my own worth.